top part of the dress will take about 1 yard of fabric, including the neck straps. The measurements you see here are from collarbone to collarbone, which were about 5 inches, the neck to the bust area, the neck to the waist, and the waist. The waist is not measured all around because I want a large part of my back out. The triangles that you see I'm cutting is for the darts so they can be sewn perfectly in place. Right here I'm just preparing both sides, one for the front, one for the back. And the triangles are still there to make sure my darts are even. They're about 4 inches high, 4 inches wide, 2 inches on each side to make sure they are even. And I'm just pinning and getting ready to draw the chalk on there so I can sew in a straight line. I'm going to lay the fabric right sides together and pin on each side and along the top. I'm not going to sew the sides just yet because I want to be able to sew in the straps at the same time. So I'm just going to sew across the neck part with my overlock machine, but you can also do this with just a straight stitch machine. Once you have completed sewing the front and the back sides together, it's time to measure out your neck straps. With the remaining fabric, go ahead and measure out how thick you want it to be, and I measured mine to be about 3.5 inches. I'm going to use my ruler to measure a straight line so I can use this as a template to cut out the second strap. My straps ended up being about 34 inches long. You're going to take one strap at a time, fold it right sides together, and sew along the raw edges. You will see me use my overlock machine, but you can use a regular stitch machine to do the job. Once you have completed sewing them together, you're going to take a safety pin. You're going to insert on one end, on one side, and insert upside down so you can be able to push the fabric right side out. And once you have completed both, you're going to go ahead and iron flat so you can have some nice crispy neck straps. Now it's time to sew the sides together. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert the straps in the center, push it through that little hole that we left there, lay it nice and flat where you would like it to stay, pin that down, and you're going to do the same for the other side. And you're going to take your overlock machine or your straight stitch machine and you're going to close it. And once you're done closing it off, you can literally flip it out and then you'll have a complete top. Well, almost complete top. what it looks like when you flip it out. Boom. Cute, right? Alright, now it's time to work on the skirt part of the dress. Here I am just showing you the remaining 3 yards of fabric, and it's time to measure out the waistband. So there was no specific number of how thick I wanted it to be. I kind of just eyeballed it. If you're using a straight stitch machine, make sure you leave a 1-inch seam allowance. If you're using an overlock machine, make sure you leave a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure I have a straight line to make sure it is even. Who wants a crooked waistband, right? So you're going to measure all across. I'm literally using the bottom of the skirt because I am not that tall. And I'm just going to cut it out with a rotary cutter. I got my gum stay. I measured it to the width and length of the waistband. I'm just literally ironing it on at the highest temperature for about 10 to 15 seconds on each press. Alright, once you're done pressing on the waistband, you can leave it to the side for now. Take the rest of your 3 yards of fabric to the straight stitch machine, set it to the longest stitch, and sew across, leaving a bit of string so you can use it for the gathering effect. Take one of the 2 strings and pull very gently because it will break. It's so fragile. And just pull a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time at your own pace. Don't do it too fast because it will break. You're going to set it on top of the waistband that you set aside, remember? And you're going to pin and sew. One thing I didn't do, I could have pinned front and back, but I just pinned one side. I would recommend pinning both sides so you don't have to go through and hand stitch the remaining side closed. Alright, here's how it's gonna look at this point, nice and clean. Right now I'm just showing you where I could have sewn it initially so I can eliminate the last step at the end, but that's okay, something I learned for next time. I'm just gonna take my iron and crease it so I can have a nice, clean, crispy waistband, and it just looks professional, you know? So once I'm done creasing it, I'm going to go ahead and crease the sides of the top so that will be nice and clean. And I'm going to place the skirt on top of it, making sure I leave even amounts of space on both ends. So you're going to place the top right in the center. And I just took my ruler and measured both ends to make sure it was even, and I sewed it across. Alright, at this point we're going to insert the zipper. So remember the 2 inches seam allowance that I mentioned earlier. This is where that's going to play into effect. So right now you're just going to fold the edges back pin in the zipper, folding down the extra top part, which is like extra fabric, and then you're going to sew it on both sides, making sure the zipper is unzipped. And then you're going to insert your zipper foot, see, and then you're going to sew along the edges, making sure to remove the pins and making sure the zipper is not right underneath the needle.